All right, guys, welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, no problem, Ashley. Good to see you. So I believe everybody on here is already familiar with me, but just in case you're not, my name is Dr. Jen. I'm a pharmacist and diabetic educator, and I come on here to talk about all things fasting, health and wellness, all the good stuff. So we're going to dive deep today into a little bit of fasting variation. And I think this is something that a lot of people are really interested in. And I've actually been doing a lot of studying on this just in the last couple months alone, just really diving deep into what different things that we can do for metabolic confusion, for changing things up, for when we get stuck, if we plateau, and all those good things. So I'm going to share my screen here. And we will get right into it. All right. All right, Marcus, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen okay, and I'm good to go there. We're good to go? All right, thank you. All right, guys, let's talk about varying your fast for success. All right, so there's various different ways that you can vary your fasting regime. Most of us go with the traditional 16 and 8, and the reason why that is honestly, it is the most popular, and not just with Unicity and with our products, but overall. The fasting gurus, all the people I talk to, I say the very same thing. The 16 and 8 is honestly the most popular. It's the easiest for people to stick to, and it tends to be the one that everybody goes to. Of course, with our Unicity, you're going to have with that the tools that make it easier with the yerba mate to help with the cravings, and then our fiber to block the cholesterol and the blood sugar spikes. Now, some variations in fasting can go anywhere from like 13 hours up to 72 hours. And you'll hear us sometimes talk about a 72-hour fast. That is usually the maximum amount of hours we do, because after 72 hours, your body will naturally start going to muscle mass as a fuel source. Now, before 72 hours, it does not, believe it or not. There's very little muscle loss. Now, you're traditionally every single day breaking down and rebuilding muscle, and that's normal. But there's no additional muscle loss until you've gone to that 72-hour mark. That's when it really starts bumping up. So at 72 hours, we always break our fast. We make sure we're getting some good things like bone broth, collagen, protein, those kind of things to break our fast, so that we make sure we rebuild the muscles quickly after restarting. So another variation would be like the 5-1-1. And I'm going to get into all those and what that is. But that is actually a very popular one for women post-menopause to help balance hormones. So where do we start when we talk about fasting? Well, guys, typically if someone's brand new to fasting, we're going to start them out just fasting overnight, pushing it to 13 to 15 hours, somewhere in there, just pushing back that first meal of the day, with the goal being getting that full 16 hours. All right, now, why is fasting so important for our health? This is why. So like the JAMA Oncology, that is a journal of medicine, very, very popular scientific journal, very well regarded. They had a study actually talking about women with early stage breast cancer. And those who fasted less than 13 hours at night actually had a 36% higher risk of cancer reoccurrence. Now, this is just one study, but there's many, many, many studies when it comes to cancer and it comes to serious disease, and how fasting actually helps prevent the reoccurrence of cancer. And with it showing that it prevents the reoccurrence, what do we assume, right? That it's going to help prevent the actual cancer occurring in the first place, right? And that's the goal here for us, to stay healthy, keep our immune systems up, and keep the sugar levels low, because we know sugar feeds cancer. So I want to talk a little bit about what are you fasting for, because depending on what you're wanting to fast for will determine where the time length of your fast should be. So most of us out there are fasting for weight loss, cholesterol levels, fatty liver, to get the sugar levels normalized, or to take down inflammation. But when it comes to fasting in itself, the three most popular time contingencies here is like the 13 to 15 hours. That's your beginning fast. That's where you're going to get some gut healing and take down some inflammation. and it's going to lower your risk of cancer just with 13 hours, which is actually very, very easy and achievable for most people. Then the extended fast is a 17-hour. Now that's where autophagy is really coming into play, and you're getting more of that breakdown of the disease and inflamed cells. Okay, so autophagy is self-eating, is what that basically means. And so at 17 hours, your body is actually breaking down diseased and broken up cells because it's shunting all your energy to the mitochondria of the cells that are healthy and are active. That's your body's way of protecting yourself. So once you get into that 17-hour mark, you're really ramping that up, and you're allowing your body to break down some of the junk cells, disease zombie cells. It's also known as anti-aging because you're breaking down some of those dead, like the skin cells. You're breaking down the cells that aren't making collagen anymore. So this is a great advantage. And then it can also, you start stopping virus replication at 17 hours. So if we're talking about people who are wanting to prevent viruses from hitting you hard, and yes, we're talking about things like the COVID virus, putting some 17-hour fasts into your regimen. And we're not talking about daily 17 hours. We're talking about putting a 17-hour fast into your regimen once a week, twice a week. That sort of thing can actually really help you prevent serious sickness. Then there's our 24-hour fast. All right. At 24 hours, your intestines actually make new stem cells, which is incredible. It's especially incredible for those with inflammatory bowel issues. All right. As well as people who are severely sugar addicted. If your gut microbiome is way off, your sugar bacteria are through the roof, right? Your sugar addicted bacteria are just really bad. Guess what? 24-hour fast is where you need to go. And like I said, this is not talking about being OMAD. This is not talking about 24-hour fast every day. It's throwing it in once a week. It's throwing it in here and there after you've had maybe a weekend where you've had too much sugar, right? You overindulge in the carbs a little bit. Throwing in that 24-hour fast to kind of get yourself reset, as well as SIBO. So the condition where there's an overgrowth of bacteria in the intestine. 24-hour fast can really help there, as well as if you're going through bloating, constipation. If your gut basically is just unhealthy, throwing in a 24-hour fast can help reset all those things. Now, let's really talk about some advanced fasting from here. This is a regimen that a scientist came up with, tested, studied, and it is really, really tried and true, known for being a belly blasting fast. It's the 36 and 12. So what this is 36 hours of fasting followed by 12 hours of eating, and then back to 36 hours of fasting and 12 hours of eating. Now you can just do one cycle of this. So just throw in once a month a 36-hour fast, then a 12-hour eating period, and then going back to your regular 16 and 8. But there is actually a scientific study that showed when someone did this, 36 hours, no macros, guys, just RT, water, followed by 12 hours of an eating period. And they did it for a month straight, 30 days. It yielded huge, huge fat loss results, specifically abdominal fat. This is an amazing option. It's an amazing option to throw in a 36-hour fast once a month. If you are really, really needing a reset and really trying to change your life, you can do this 36 and 12 consistently for a full 30 days. Now, after 30 days, they weren't seeing the benefit. You have to change it up after that, because just like anything else, it's all about metabolic confusion. It's all about changing things up. If you consistently stay on the same fasting regimen over and over again, your body eventually figures out what you're doing, normalizes everything, and it stops working as well, right? But with this is phenomenal. Up to 30 days that you can just cycle through this. Now, does this all making sense to everybody? You understand what the 36 versus 12. So like, for instance, like if you did this Sunday night, you decided at 9 p.m. you're done eating. So Monday at 9 p.m. you've gone 24 hours. Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. you're breaking your fast. And between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. you can eat, and then you do it again. Skip a day, skip an evening, and then you eat 12 hours again. This is actually super easy and super achievable. I've known a lot of people that throw in a 36-hour fast. I've done it. Mike's done it. Mike's even done the 72. We've done 72. I know Marcus has done it. This is so much easier with the tea. If you're using just the yerba mate tea, you guys, this is incredibly easy. It really, truly is. Then there's the 72-hour fast. And we talk about this. Now, a 72-hour fast isn't something that you're going to do continuously like 36. The 72-hour fast is something people typically do just once a month, if even that often. All right. It's not continually needed, but this is used to ramp up the immune system. So again, we do a max of 72 hours, then you not want to break down any muscle. So after 72 hours, you're going to want to eat a meal, preferably spend at least a few hours getting in some protein, right? If you did a 72-hour fast, you might want to do a 12-hour eating period, just getting in plenty of protein and collagen and bone broth and amino acids and just lots of good stuff to help your body just really build up. And then you can go back into fasting. This 72-hour fast is really going to starve out viruses and bacteria. After 72 hours, they cannot replicate. It's incredible. The science behind it is just incredible. If you have viruses, if you have bacteria in the body, you literally shut down their ability to replicate. The science behind it is solid. And then autophagy is occurring. It is really ramped up, breaking down all those diseased and inflamed cells, and you're creating new stem cells in various parts of your body.
48 hours was
resetting. Brought up the 48-hour fast next because I put in a little clip from Dr. Mindy, and I wanted you guys, if you guys are not familiar with Dr. Mindy Peltz, she is kind of very well known as a fasting guru. So whether you're a male or a female, when we're talking about varying these fasting times, guys, the 48-hour fast is a really good one and some that a lot of people use. This is amazing for resetting dopamine, your dopamine receptors in your brain. The scientific studies behind this, helping you with mental health, as well as if you're a binge eater or if you're highly sugar addicted, a 48-hour fast can be absolutely phenomenal for you to break free of those things. So I'm going to let her, this is just like a 1.5-minute clip that talks about how the dopamine gets reset. And dopamine is your happy hormone. Dopamine is the receptor that usually gets pinged when you eat something sugary or something that has happy memories associated with it, the birthday cake, all that stuff. You get that dopamine response to the brain where it just makes you happy, right? It's the same thing for when you're flipping on your phone, you get that little dopamine response. It's the happy hormone. It's also used in antidepressants, okay? Increasing that dopamine level does occur in some antidepressants. So I would like you to hear this one little clip from her.
48 hours was resetting your dopamine receptor sites. And what was interesting on that one is the research showed that when you put a person into a 48-hour fast, that you are putting them into a dopamine deprived state. Okay, we're back at a hormetic stressor. So if you put somebody in a dopamine deprived state, what ends up happening is the dopamine system in the brain starts to repair and new receptor sites show up. New dopamine, they're called D2 receptor sites show up. So your brain actually fixes the dopamine system and makes new receptor sites so that when you are ready to eat again, you actually have more receptor sites available for you to enjoy that food. Now, I looked at that study mixed with other studies that were showing that people who are obese often require more food to get the same emotional high because they have been using food to be able to give them a dopamine hit. But dopamine is the neurotransmitter of more. It is not the neurotransmitter of enough. So this is addiction. This is why people are food addicted. They get some dopamine. They're like, oh my God, that feels so good. Let me go get more. But the next time they need more of it. And now the next thing they know is that they're eating more. And one bag of potato chips turns into 2 bags of potato chips. And it just keeps snowballing. And one of the ways you break that cycle is you put them into a 48-hour fast. And now you've rebooted the whole system.
Okay, so again, the 48-hour fast, this isn't something we're doing continually. This is something we're throwing in from time to time where we feel like we need it. When we feel like we're just eating way too much sugar, like we feel like we're having like an emotional connection to our food that we just need to cut back on. Throwing in a 48-hour fast, some people do it once a month, some people do it once a quarter, that kind of thing. It's all dependent on what you need, and that's what us coaches can help you figure out. So Dr. Mindy Peltz wrote the book Fast Like a Girl. I included the Fast Like a Girl calendar here. Now I'm going to do an entire talk just about this, just about fasting for hormones, just about fasting through menopause. Right now, I'm just giving you a little brief overview about the fasting and the fasting cycle that she follows, the different phases of the period. Now, this is what's important. This one's just for the women, guys, but for this fasting for hormones, whether you are a woman trying to get pregnant and not having a period, whether you're a woman who is going through perimenopause and has irregular periods, or whether you are a woman who no longer has periods because you're past menopause, this is still a resetting cycle for your hormones. This still works. No matter what part of the phase you're in, talking to the ladies, guys, whether you're still having a period, whether you've had a hysterectomy, whether you're just trying to balance, no matter where you are in that, if you're looking to burn belly fat, fix your sleep cycle, fix your hormones, get your estrogen and progesterone where it needs to be, balance your mood, your depression, your anxiety, this is an excellent way to do it. Basically, day one is the first day of your period. And if you do not have a period, because your periods are irregular, you just pick any day. If you're post-menopause and you have no periods at all, you just pick a day and you start your calendar. But it's important, if you do have a period, you start that day one is the first day of your period. And basically from day 1 through 10, you're eating a keto lifestyle. So you're going keto, right? Or you're going carnivore. Basically, you're going very low carb, not a lot of fruits and vegetables. You can still have that little side of the fruits and the vegetables, but minimum, because we're going low carbohydrate and fruits and vegetables are still carbs. Now you can do longer fast during this period. During day 1 through 10, you can throw in a 72-hour fast just fine and your body will thrive. It will do actually very, very well during this time. Now, days 11 through 15 after the start of your cycle, that we're going to have shorter fasting periods because you're going to be more feasting instead of fasting. And the reason why is for ovulation to occur. And if you do, and like I said, if you don't have, if you have a hysterectomy or you're not worried about ovulation, you still want to worry about your hormones. You want to be building your progesterone up. You want to be getting your estrogen balance. You don't want to be testosterone dominant as a female. So this matters. So during day 11 through 18, you are not doing a 48-hour fast. You're not doing a 36. You're not doing a 72, because if you push those long fasts during this time period, you can bottom out your hormones, make yourself moody, grumpy, all of those things. For the men, this doesn't matter. The men can throw that 72-hour fast in whenever they want. If the women do it, we are going to make ourselves Krabby Patties, like we really are. We're going to mess up our hormones, guys. It matters when you do these longer fasts. So pay attention to this. Like I said, if you no longer have a cycle, all right, and you've already been through menopause, it doesn't seem like this would matter as much, right? Because you're not working on that ovulation, but you still need to be cyclic in how you eat. Because if you do 72-hour fast all the time, if you push it, if you get extensive with this all the time, you're going to bottom out your hormones. If you do 1 month of that 36 and 12, not going to be a problem. But when you do this every single month, this is what I'm talking about. You're going to have to do this sort of cycle to reset yourself and get your hormones back. Some women choose to do, I do a very close variation to this every single month. This is what I started with when my periods were every 2 weeks and heavy and a hot mess. My mood was crabby. I was not sleeping through the night. I started this whole cycle, and about 2 months in, completely changed all of that. Using the Unimate tea and using the balance, that just makes it easy. Now, day 16 through 19, you can do the longer fasts again. All right. You're going to be more keto. And I guess I didn't specify during that hormone feasting period, that's going to be day 11 through 15 and day 20 and on. You're eating more of nature's carbs, more fruit, more veggies. You're actually eating them throughout the day, right? Because you're still going to fast the 13 to 15, but the hours that you're not fasting, you're eating nature's carbs. Yes, you're still eating your protein. You can still get your healthy fats in there. Absolutely. We don't give those up. But we're also eating plenty of nature's carbs. This is when your body's making hormones and it's craving sugar, but it's the good sugar. It's the carbs that come from nature. So just remember that. That's why typically as women, we crave chocolate right before our period. You guys aren't really, when you're craving chocolate, you're craving sugar, but your body is actually craving carbohydrates, like good carbohydrates. It's craving fruits. It's craving vegetables. You just don't know it because you've been feeding that craving with chocolate, with junk, with salty stuff, with the garbage that your body doesn't need. So when you change that, you will be shocked at how it helps your mood and takes that PMS just right away. So day 1 through 10, day 16 through 19, we're keto, we're carnivore, we're low carb, where it can hit those long fasts. Day 11 through 15, day 20 until your period starts, however long that takes. Okay. And if your periods are irregular, you're going to do something like a normal period would be. So day 20 through 28, and then restart. Okay. That's the typical cycle, is a 28-day cycle. So if you're trying to do this to rebuild yourself and your periods are just random, sporadic every 3 months, just follow this cycle every 28 to 30 days. Okay. And your body will reset and you'll get that normal cycle back. Now, this is some, and men, I'm getting to the men too. Okay. So the men can do the longer fast. They can do them whenever they want. I want to reiterate that. The women need to care about their hormones. You cannot hit those long fasts constantly and consistently because you will bottom yourself out. So menopausal weekly variations. This also comes from Dr. Mindy Peltz. She's got studies behind this. She has dove deep in the science. So I'm just sharing her great knowledge here, guys. Now, when I say menopausal, that's anywhere from perimenopause to postmenopause. This is important to understand. This is any woman who is starting to go through the process of having irregular cycles can choose to do one of these variations, and it may feel better to them than just doing the typical 16 and 8 on and on and on. So this would be a protocol that you would start and stick with. So maintaining through the menopause period, right? Maintaining, you can do a 5-1-1, which is 5 days of our fasting. Now, she specifies as 5 days of fasting of 13 to 15 hours. If you want to do, push it to the 16. So you're doing 16 and 8. That's fine for the advanced ladies that have been doing this for a while. It's perfectly fine. But we're just trying to stay under 17 is the goal, because at 17, you start getting that autophagy. You get a tiny bit of a cortisol spike with that. So that's why that 17 hour is really the mark. So at 5 days, we're going to do 13 to 15 hours of fasting. 1 day of the week, we're going to stretch it to at least 17 hours or more. So you can do 17 hours, you can do 24 hours here. Okay. So over 17. And then on the last day of the week, no fasting at all. You're going to pretend you don't fast at all. Okay. And what this is going to do is help with the hormone balance. These right here are an alternative to the last slide I just did, talking about the advanced reset. If your periods are irregular and you're trying to fix that, or if you don't have a period and you're trying to get it back, do the advanced reset. If you are going through menopause and you don't have periods anymore, you don't care about it, the irregularity of your periods, or you're just wanting a different variation, the maintenance is a great choice for you. Okay. Now, if you're looking for weight loss, specifically focused on losing weight, and you're somewhere in that menopause spectrum, a 4-2-1 works phenomenal. That's 4 days of doing the fasting, 13 to 15. And yes, we can stretch at the 16. The goal is just under 17. All right. And then 2 days of stretching that fast, and the over 17 hours. You're wanting to really induce autophagy and boost fat burning 2 days. So you're going to do 2 days of 17 to 24 hours worth of fasting. And then that last day as a reset, no fasting at all. Then our third variation is for people who are specifically suffering with anxiety and depression. And the goal with this one is to not push it, not push our cortisol level, not stress ourselves. We're trying to regulate hormones a little bit. We're trying to get our health back, but we're also not pushing the envelope here. This is more of a gentle fasting routine. So this would be 4 days of comfortable fasting. So what that basically means is when you get up in the morning, you're going to have somewhere between, depending on when you stopped eating the night before, you're going to somewhere automatically have 8 to 10 hours of fasting in. Okay. You are basically going to push it as far as until you start feeling hungry, hangry, frustrated, wanting to eat, having cravings, whatever. You're going to go ahead and break that fast. You're going to automatically get that 8 to 10 hours overnight. So we're not eating it during that overnight period. But once you get up in the morning, as soon as you feel like you need to eat, the goal is to not stress yourself, not push yourself, go ahead and eat your first meal. Okay. Then you're going to do 2 days of no fasting at all. Not even just getting up, having the breakfast, having the lunch, having the dinner. Again, still we're eating healthy food, guys. We're prioritizing protein. We're prioritizing healthy fats. We're prioritizing not having carbs with every single meal because it's the carbs and the sugar, right, that's spiking our numbers. Now, remember, if you're doing these variations where you're not fasting, if you're having carbs with a meal, you need to be having the balanced fiber with a meal. So if you're choosing carbohydrates for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're going to be drinking 3 gallons a day. That's why we would rather you at least only have 1, maybe 2 of your meals have carbs, and you have at least one of those meals is going to be carb-free or very low carb. We're talking the eggs and avocado. We're talking just meat, right? Not the meat, potatoes, and veggies, not all the carbs, just the meat. So that's 2 days, no fasting. Then you're going to have 1 day where you push the envelope. You're going to push it where you get up in the morning and you feel hungry. Let's say it's been 12, 13 hours in and you're starting to feel hungry. And instead of going ahead and breaking that fast right then and there, you're going to try to push it out an hour. You're going to tell yourself, you know what? I'm starting to feel hungry, but I can do this. I'm going to wait set that alarm on your phone for 60 minutes and push it. Push yourself past your comfortable limit. It may make you a little agitated, a little frustrated, but that's going to help you with your gut microbiome. And that's pushing the envelope just enough that it's going to help you with the fat burning, help you with the health and wellness without bumping up that anxiety level and depression level, because we're just pushing it a smidge. And then when you go back into that 4 days of comfortable fasting, the goal is that naturally your body's going to be able to give yourself a little bit more time in those fasts without being stressful, without it spiking your cortisol like crazy and causing anxiety or depression symptoms. These are very good variations. And like, again, I said, this one's for the women. This is talking about menopause. Now,
I'm Dr. Jim Stepani,
this one's for
and
the
in this
men.
video, I'm going to teach you 4.
This one's for the men, and it's not just for the men, guys. It's also for the girlies who are wanting to put on some muscle. Now, I typically say the men because, let's be honest, it's usually the guys that are wanting the big muscles, that are wanting to really power pack on the protein, but it's us women too. Like, I'm going through a phase where I'm trying to put on more muscle. So this is very, very important for me as well. And for the body to put on muscle, this gentleman talks about it wonderful. This is Dr. Jim Stepani. He is a PhD. He has his doctorate in exercise physiology from the University of Connecticut. And he is actually a personal trainer with LL Cool J, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, Mario Lopez. He is a personal trainer to the stars, basically. So he helps these men look good, look muscular, look beefy. And no, not right now, baby. I'm on a meeting, okay? Go ask Papa for some help, okay? No, I can't, baby. Not right now. Okay. Thank you, though. No, not right now. I love you, but I got to finish my meeting, okay? All right. So we're going to turn on Jim, and I'm going to go help my daughter for a second. He's got just a short little video that talks about muscle growth and going through the intermittent fasting routine and still putting on muscle and all the muscle hacks. He talks about fish oil. He talks about maxing out your eating window. He talks about leucine, which is so important. And that's how he says that's why he picks 40 grams of protein is typically what you want to have in a meal when you're putting on muscle, because you're going to get that amount of leucine that you need. Okay.
I'm Dr. Jim Stepani, and in this video, I'm going to teach you 4 hacks to maximize muscle growth while intermittent fasting. Now, I'm a huge proponent of intermittent fasting for fat loss. However, it can be difficult to gain muscle while intermittent fasting. Now, you won't lose muscle while intermittent fasting as long as you're eating enough protein, but it can make it very difficult to gain muscle, and it's due to the long periods where you're not eating, which causes massive muscle protein breakdown. However, with these 4 hacks, I'm going to teach you can still maximize muscle gains while intermittent fasting. Number 1 is to make sure you're consuming enough protein at each meal. You need at least 40 grams of protein to maximize that muscle protein synthesis, and this gets down to the amount of leucine that you're getting. Research shows that we need a good 3 to 5 grams of leucine to maximize that muscle protein synthesis, and most proteins, it takes a good 30 to 40 grams to get that 3 grams of leucine. Now, number 2 is once you've got your muscle protein spikes down, you want to space your meals apart about 2 to 2.5 hours. Remember, if you're doing intermittent fasting in a 16 to 8 fashion, you've only got 8 hours to feed yourself. So you need to not only maximize how high those muscle protein spikes go, but you need to maximize the number of spikes you get in a day. By shortening those meals to every 2 hours, you'll still maximize that protein spike and maximize the number you get each day. Now, the third technique is to use supplements. I've already talked about the amino acid leucine and how many grams it takes to maximize muscle protein synthesis. So one thing you can do before each meal is to consume a good 3 to 5 grams of leucine right before that meal to maximize that muscle protein synthesis spike. A second supplement that can be helpful is HMB. Now, while HMB works mostly in newbies, it works well for anyone on a calorie-restricted diet to help prevent muscle breakdown. The third supplement you want to focus on, believe it or not, is fish oil. As fish oil has been shown to enhance that spike in muscle protein synthesis. Now, we've got our nutrient timing down and the type of nutrients that we're taking. Fourth is to make sure that you're training around your feeding window. There's a science that's called sports nutrition. We know that certain nutrients before you work out and after you work out not only enhance your performance, but also your recovery and your results. If you're not eating before or after you train, you're not maximizing your performance and you're not maximizing your recovery and the results you get. With those 4 hacks, you'll be able to maximize fat loss and maximize muscle gain with intermittent fasting. For more information on nutrition, training, and even intermittent fasting, check out bodybuilding.com.
Okay, so this gentleman's got it down when it comes to, like, he's been doing this for a long time. He's training some major athletes and he's training some famous people to look cut and look good. He knows what he's talking about. Now, when we did the 5-day fat blast, you'll notice this looks a little similar to what we did, right? We got up, we worked out or did our walk first thing in the morning. We waited an hour, right? Because within an hour, you need to get that protein on board. Now, men actually can wait up to 4 hours after working out to get all the protein on board, because it takes them longer for the body to start digging deep into the protein storage, versus women have to get that in within an hour. But that's what we did with our 5-day fat blast. We did our exercise or our 1 hour of walking, and then we had 20 grams of protein every 2 hours for the most part during our eating window. Very similar to what he's doing here. But for us, we were just trying to maintain muscle mass and help our body burn fat for fuel efficiently. Whereas this is 40 grams of protein, because this is somebody lifting the heavy weights, really seriously trying to put on some muscle. So that's just the difference. Same sort of concept that we did. Okay, so our little 5-day fat blast metabolic confusion. That's exactly why we did what we did. This is just changing it up. This is for the people who want to stick to that 16 and 8. They like it, they're comfortable with it, they're doing good at it, but they still get to a stalling point or a plateau. This is when you can throw in something like this 5-day fat blast, okay? Where you can do the walking, where you can do the 20 grams of protein 4 times a day for women, 5 times a day for men. You're still going to be in a caloric deficit so that you can help burn more fat for fuel. And by making it protein, making it those keto meals, skipping on the carbs, guys, keeping all of the added sugar out, you're going to help yourself burn fat for fuel while maintaining really good lean muscle mass. The walking helps burn the sugar right out of the bloodstream, keep those blood sugar and insulin levels low, 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 so you can be a fat burning machine faster. And of course, that water, when you're drinking between 2 and 3 liters a day, because water naturally raises the GLP, so you're not as hungry, as well as hydration is key to flush out the kidneys and keep your energy level up. So with this kind of change up in your fasting routine, you're keeping your 16 and 8 until you don't, right? Until you're ready to switch it up. So this is a great option for men or for women. Now I'm showing you a lot of different options in how to vary your fasting. You may have to find what works best for you by trial and error. What feels good, what gives you more energy, what helps you feel stronger, more energized. Everyone's a little bit different. Your gut microbiome is different. And sometimes it's just figuring out what works best for you. All right, guys. And then from here, I'm going to stop screen sharing so we can ask some questions. If you guys have put some questions in the chat, if you guys want to unmute yourselves and talk, let's ask some questions. Let's chat and let's talk about the 5-day fat blast. I want to know how everybody did, what your results were, what your feedback is, how it worked out for you. So I'm really interested to talk to all the members of the team because we had several people on here who did do it. And I would like to know how you guys did. So I don't know if anyone wants to unmute and chat. Otherwise, if you guys want to put stuff in the chat box, let's see.
There was already some questions in the box too. I was going to let you.
Okay, so in the 12-hour eating window, great question. How many meals should we be eating? It all depends on if you're going to try to work out and you're going to be trying to use that 12-hour eating window because you're going to be working out and you want to be eating extra protein, then you're going to be wanting extra meals. If you're not planning on exercising, if you're planning on sitting around, you can have the regular 3 meals a day. Regular 3 meals a day. Of course, we're always prioritizing protein. We're always trying to get in those healthy fats. And we're going to try to make sure that not all 3 of those meals are carb-rich meals. And when we're eating the carbs, we're drinking the fiber. So if you're having 2 carb meals during that eating period, you make sure you're getting those 2 balance in. Goal is to not be having carbs, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you just have breakfast and just have dinner that day, technically you're still fasting in between. That's why we're saying breakfast, lunch, dinner, you're getting your meals in, right? But you're not spiking your inflammation, anything crazy. So what about a person who has Hashimoto's and menopause? Can you still follow this plan? Yes. Okay. So you're wanting to not stress yourself, not wanting to stress the body. Like if your Hashimoto's is really flared and you're having a lot going on, and that's for anybody who's in a flare up of autoimmune, who's having a flare up Hashimoto's, anything that's autoimmune based, cortisol based, inflammatory based. If you are in a flare up of any kind, all right, and you are in menopause, you may want to stick with the anxiety depression protocol because you are going to keep down inflammation and keep all of that excess stress down because you're not wanting to flare up things worse, right? If you are not in a flare up situation and you're very level, plateaued, you're doing well with whatever you are going through, and I'm talking overall about chronic disease, guys, then you can start doing different variations and see what works best for you. If you get into a fasting variation, it's making you stressed, if it's making you anxious, if it doesn't feel good, if it flares up anything going on in your body, that's not the one for you, or this is a time period where it's not going to work for you. You're in a season where your body just can't handle it, Angela. So you're going to have to kind of play with it a little bit and figure out what works best. So let's see, is all that in this book? Okay, yes. The Fast Like a Girl has a lot of the information in here regarding menopause. That is who I follow. I binge her stuff all the time. And of course, I do some other studies as well. For the men's stuff, that comes from a different venue. Mindy just does menopause. So you do an 18 hours of fasting, light lunch and meal. That's great. In the weekends, you do a 24-hour and it works really well. Yes. So if you plateau, here's the thing, guys, is anybody, if we stick with the same regimen, day in, day out, month in, month out, your body tends to plateau. Your body adjusts to whatever schedule you put it on. It's just like if you eat the exact same food every day. So like with Dr. Mindy, she talks about having feasting days and having kind of fasting days, right? Days of the month where you can fast longer, days of the month you want more healthy carbs, nutrition, fruits and vegetables in your life. And by doing that, you're going to balance your hormones. So for iPhone, I can't tell if I'm talking to a female or male, but if you're female, you have to be careful not to bottom out your hormones by your time periods that you eat. Okay. So people will say, yeah, I'm doing really well with like OMAD or the 24 hours or doing longer fast each and every day. But if you are a female, over time, you are going to bottom out your hormones doing that. That's why you have to have those hormone feasting days from time to time. All right. Anybody else? Any questions? Hey, how did everybody do? I want to know how everybody did with the 5-day challenge.
I did it, but
How did you do, Sharon?
I lost a half a pound, but I got the flu on Wednesday and I didn't do nothing. I was throwing up. I was not feeling good.
You got sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That supports your efforts. Yeah.
So at least I lost a half a pound and I lost a half inch around my waist and a half inch around my breast area.
Okay. And how are you feeling? How did it feel to do something different?
It felt good. I mean, the first day, I wanted carbs so bad. I love that Ezekiel bread, and I was missing that because I tried to keep myself away from that.
Yeah.
And it's like I wanted it so bad; it was torture.
But by the end of the week, you were doing good?
Yes, yes.
Good. That's great. That's great. Yeah. So, and with the exercise, you guys, when we're walking, okay, it's still exercise, even though it's just a walk. So that's why we incorporated the protein. When you're doing a full 1 hour walk, you are burning a lot of sugar out of your bloodstream. You're burning calories, right? And so you're going to want some protein after that. So when we're doing the usual 16 and 8, and you're wanting to do walking, incorporate it during your eating period so that you're burning up the carbs and the sugar. So when you have things like the Ezekiel bread, after that, you want to do your walk.
Okay.
That's the best way to plan it. So you can burn up all those carbs that you just put in so that you can still eat it and you can still work it off.
Okay.
Yep. So then Zoom user, what about smoothies and what kinds of fruits? Okay. What kinds of fruits? All the fruits when it comes to the feasting period. If you look up the carb content of your fruits, and I don't have my list with me, I can actually get that to you. If you want to reach out to me, what kinds of fruits are really recommended during feasting periods versus more ketobiotic periods. During the keto parts of your regimen, you want to eat less fruits, less vegetables, really cut down on the carbs. Versus during your feasting periods, you're going to add all types of fruit. Now, the kinds of fruits that we have to be really careful of is things like bananas because they're really high sugar. Anything that's really high sugar, just be careful of how much of that you incorporate. And then with the smoothies, you got to be careful what all's in it too. So things as simple as like nut milks and almond milks can raise some people's blood sugars really high. So you really, really have to be careful of the smoothies. I don't recommend smoothies at all, except for during your feasting period if you are a female. If you are a male, you would just randomly throw those in from time to time, but I would never do smoothies each and every day. It's just way too much sugar. Way too much sugar. You want to cycle getting those in from time to time. Sweet treats on the weekends. A smoothie is actually a sweet treat, right? Fruits are sweet treats. We try to stick with vegetables as much as we can. During our feasting period is when we're going to have more of the cruciferous vegetables. So you want to go with your lower carb vegetables most days of the week. And then during your feasting periods, you want to go with allowing yourself the root vegetables, the potatoes, the starchy vegetables that actually have the higher carb content. Those are all good to go during your eating period, your feasting period. And like I said, I'm going to go dive deep into doing a full meeting just on the foods, the fruits and the vegetables, when it's best to eat more of them, when it's best to not during that hormone feasting and the hormone basing the feasting and famine calendar. Dr. Mindy's calendar for the advanced reset is really, really great. I can get you another copy of that as well, guys. If you guys want the slides or you want the copies of those things, I'll make sure I can get it to you. That's easy. So Tanya, how did you do with the 5-day?
Hi.
Calling you out.
I did really well. I sort of enjoyed it, but I sort of didn't enjoy it because I was really enjoying the 16-8. And just so everybody knows, I'm just about to 2 months in with Unicity. So I'm newer, and I was loving the freedom, or I am loving the freedom with the 16 and 8 eating plan. And so last week was definitely a change up, which I need because I get set in my ways and eat the same things over and over that I like. So it was really good for me to do that. I did feel more tired by eating more frequently. And I did, getting up earlier than I'm used to, but we were on live every day with you. And anyway, in the end, I lost 3.5 pounds. So I think it was definitely worth it, and I would definitely do it again.
Yeah, and it's a great option for a variation. Like you said, when people are just starting and they're newer, sticking with the 16 and 8 for a little while until you really get to a point where you plateau and you get a little stuck and then you need to change it up is usually how we do it. Usually how we do it. It just so happened that we jumped into this 5-day and you were kind of newer. Right. But I think the 5-day is a great way. I mean, anybody can do that when they get stuck, when they get to a plateau where they're like, okay, I feel like it's not doing anything anymore. Okay, now you need a variation.
Right.
And there's so many different ways to vary it. There really is. It's just finding the thing that works for you best. But I thought it worked really well. I mean, I didn't like getting up at 5:30 in the morning. Not gonna lie.
I was very tired.
Yes, very tired. Me too.
But I'm feeling
eating, and it felt like a job.
It did, because essentially you have to plan out your day the night before if you're going to work or basically do anything. So it was, calculating and tracking and all that I've done for years that has just exhausted me, and I wasn't getting results. But I can see why this increased my metabolism and I got results from it.
Right. But like you said, maintenance wise, it's not something anyone's going to want to maintain because it's there's just so much to it. Yeah. Exactly. So it's a great change up, just maybe not every day.
Right.
Marcus, you didn't do the 5-day because you were on vacation, right? You were too busy.
I had just got back. I mean, I did all mine before. I was walking, doing all that other thing. I was eating all day long while I was.
Marcus was in Disney, so he was after it. Yeah. But you were doing miles and miles of walking. So
and you know how bad it was like I said, they had we purchased, this is off subject, but we purchased after park tickets where the park closes and you get to stay later. Well, they have all you can eat popcorn, have all you can eat ice cream, and all the ice cream that they have there, you can have any of those. They have all you can drink Cokes, but I don't drink Coke, so I just got water. But man, the popcorn and the ice cream are going down so good.
Did you also walked miles and miles. So
I think I landed up in those 7 days I was gone. I think I did about between 2,500 steps to 30,000 steps every day.
Crazy. So how did you do weight wise? Did you put on any weight being on vacation? How did you do?
I put on about 5 pounds.
You did. Well, you sound like you ate that 5 pounds. So did you go into any special fasts on your way back? Or
yeah, so like I think I messaged you. I'm not doing any. I didn't do any carbs for 5 days. Today was my only day to have any carbs. Today was going to be my cheat day, the 80-20 that I teach everybody to do. So
Mhm.
all I did was, I think I even texted you the other day, I had 72 grams of protein. So I ate 6 boiled eggs, and I had that pulled pork, the one I texted you. If I could,
Mhm. Yeah.
my warmer wasn't working, so I landed up putting on the exhaust manifold to warm it up.
Oh
And
my gosh.
right, and
Yeah.
so you know what I mean. So I had like 72 hours. So all I've been trying to do, I'm not having any sugars, no sugars for the whole month that I'm out. I think I'm gonna be out here for 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm detoxing my body because I ate enough ice cream. I was gone. So I'm minimizing my carbs and sugars for this whole month, but I am gonna have it one time on my day off. I'm gonna enjoy a meal, and the rest of the time is just gonna be total protein and um eating, just doing it right. So but
That's
yeah,
great.
and I'm interested in doing that. I've heard another gentleman talking about the 36-12,
Mhm.
and he had really great results, but I just can't eat all day long. It just means, that's why I was wondering
It's
how
all,
many.
like Tanya was saying, it was so hard to sit and eat because it was like every 2.5 hours or so you had to eat a meal, and it was just like it was difficult. Like it took effort to eat that much food because we're so used to fasting and being healthy and not eating that much. So I wonder if I incorporated more exercise, I would be a little more hungry. That's probably maybe the goal, burn some more calories so you're craving more. Um, but yeah, that 36 and 12, you'd have to play with it and see exactly how much protein your body needs. There's no exact science to exactly how much nutrition you need to get in during that time period. Of course, you're going to want to get some protein because your body, especially breaking that fast, you're going to want to get some collagen, some protein, all that good stuff right off the bat, some prebiotics, all the good stuff in that first meal that you're breaking your fast with. And you're going to want protein. I mean, you're going to want to push some protein in the other 2 meals of the day, or you're not going to get enough in for your body to really sustain that protein for that whole longer period. 36 hours for me is super, super easy. Now that we've been doing this, 36 hours is super easy. So I think the 36 and 12 and doing that over and over would actually be phenomenal. Stephen, let's see. You maintained but didn't really lose any, but felt better. And it was very difficult. Yes. So Stephen also did the 5-day fat burner. So the science behind the science behind the 5-day fat burner was for people who don't usually, the study was done for people who don't fast. It wasn't a specifically intermittent fasting thing. This was just a diet regimen that some people had really, really great results with. And I wanted to incorporate it into a fasting break to see how we did with it. People have been telling me so far they've had really good results with energy, that they really liked going back to the 16 and 8. Yes, really, really like that. So we'll see how it goes going forward. I really like exercising during my eating period. It feels better, or when I exercise and then break my fast. So that works really well without doing the extended eating period. The extended eating period is hard. Your gut really struggles with it, to be honest. It really does. So, and then, it can bump up the inflammation. So I wanted to do that job. Yeah.
Were you guys having carbs with your guys' deal too, or was it mostly just protein and?
Pretty low carb. We were sticking low carb, really prioritizing protein.
So I heard of another Jackie Lackey. You know Jackie Lackey, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she come up with a double. If anything,
Yeah.
if we try anything next, I think we should try that. That really boosts the fat burning, where it's just double protein, right? And double vegetables. That's it. No carbs. Still doing the 16-8, so we're still doing our fast. We're not doing anything different. But during those 2 meals, it's just double protein, double vegetables. And I heard that works really, really well to switch.
See, and that's what I took into the science behind the whole 5-day fat blast, because we're really pushing up our protein for that 5 days. We're like really pushing the protein because we had to have 20 grams of protein 4 to 5 times a day. So it was really doubling up the protein for a lot of people. So I was trying to see if that alone could really bump it up for people to keep you in the the fat burning mode without the carbs of the fiber. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I mean, nobody had phenomenal results. Nobody had bad results. Nobody was packing on pounds or anything, but nobody had phenomenal results. So maybe next time around, going with the doubling of the protein and the fiber is the way to go. So
And then just doing the and still just doing the 16. Don't breaking our routine that we already do.
yeah.
And how does everybody's thoughts of doing it like Friday on the weekends? Is it harder to do something like that, or would it be better to do it during the week? Because like I don't know if it takes any extra uh people being able to, like, for me, it's hard for me to get my hands on anything like that all the time. So I'm going to the truck
Yeah.
stop and I'm always looking like, where can I find it? So what
I
makes
feel
it
like I feel like when I have to eat more, it's easier to do on the weekend because
what?
I'm not on the go so much myself, you know?
Because it's only supposed to be 3 or 4 days when you do the double double.
Mhm. Mhm. But yeah, it's a good variation we can try as well. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. Yep. So any other questions, you guys, or any other feedback on the variations you've been doing? Anybody? There's some really good, I'm telling you, the advanced reset from Dr. Mindy, that was a game changer for me. It really truly was. My periods were every 2 weeks. I started doing the time-based eating and they were getting better and my inflammation was down and I was feeling so much better, but my hormones were still kind of wackadoo and I was really struggling with it and I didn't know what to do. And when I started doing the advanced reset and using the tea, more on certain days and less, and all of a sudden I started doing some extended fasts and I'd never done those before, it just really reset my whole system. Mixing the Unicity system plus the advanced reset, it was completely magic to my body. That's when I was completely started sleeping through the night just fine. Mood completely changed. I mean, it really was huge for me. So I really, really highly recommend it. Okay, so with boards coming up, all right. So with boards coming up, Ashley, you are going to be high stress. So with the high stress, you might want to stick with the anxiety depression protocol and not get pushing into too much. And then after your boards, then you can go start doing variations with the longer fasting, because the goal for you is you're already in a high stress environment, taking those board exams. I remember doing that for pharmacy and it is a lot. It is extremely stressful. So yes, with you, chiropractor boards are going to be, I can only imagine how much worse those are going to be with a couple extra years of education on there. So yeah, definitely go with the anxiety depression protocol and try to maintain your relaxation as much as possible. You're going to want to not push it, but you're also going to want to maintain, you know what I mean? Maintain some of those fasting hours as much as you can, because you want to heal your gut and you want your gut microbiome back the way it needs to be. Yeah. So that'll be a great variation for you. Anybody else got questions on the variations? The men, it's a little bit easier to do that. The double is easy. Men really, really power through with that. When I have men get stuck, that's the first thing I suggest to them. And that usually works. That worked with Larry. Gabino, I think you tried that too, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
It is. Well, it is kind of hard, in the beginning, just but later on it makes it easy. Well, the only thing I do a lot is in the weekend, like I said, 24 hours is a lot. And I'm gonna try, I'm trying to, because sometimes I'm stuck in the middle. Sometimes I cannot lose. I feel like I gain weight, but it's not. It's just, thing is in my mind is like I don't want to go back, being like I used to. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can be more, like seven. I was looking at the meeting. It kind of hit my mind saying, why not? What can I do at 72 hours? Doing this
Mm-hmm.
fasting. It helped me a lot. It helped me right now. Your meeting, just thinking, and then one thing is I like this meeting a lot because I got a lot of people behind me. They're women, they were over 64 to 60,
Mhm.
but they're still not getting the fasting. And this, I will send it to them and
Okay.
I will talk
Yeah.
to them about it because this is nice, and it's just,
Mhm.
it's a difference, doing this.
Men can do different fasting that women
Yes.
can't do. Men can really, they can do that 72-hour fast whenever the heck they want, and it's not
Oh,
going to stress
yes.
them. Where women, if they do it during certain parts of their cycle, they can become a grizzly bear after doing that. Their sugars drop,
I,
their hormones drop, they become crabby, and it becomes hard. And then stress goes up, cortisol goes up, and then they're
yes,
doing the opposite of what they need to do. They can actually
it
put
is.
on weight, stressing themselves.
Yes, it's just like
Yeah.
for them, I already, I think one of them she's doing already on the weekend 24 hours. That's when I ask them first, is do 24 hours step by step, baby steps,
Yeah.
24 hours, 20, 12 hours, and then later on how they feel, then they go 16 to 18. I think I got an app uh, from Sales Feel Great, and
Mhm.
you go in there and it tells you, how many hours you want to be, what's your goal, and that's
Yeah.
what I do for fasting. And that's it keeps me up. And I'm changing it 24 hours, and it's beautiful. you
But
know,
you've also lost 100 pounds.
yes, I lost 100 pounds, and
A
that's gonna
hundred.
be
You're doing something right. You lost a hundred
yes.
pounds. Great
I,
job.
I do a lot of what I do is a lot of protein. It's just a lot of avocados. I
Yep.
know they're expensive, but I do a lot of avocados, a lot of green. Everything's green. That's one thing. I do a
Hmm.
lot of green. I eat before and after, but it's pretty good. I like it. I'm always thankful for you guys all the time. Your meetings, everything. I look and I just look sometimes on when I can't be in the Zoom, on the meetings, but I was there. Just looking at your videos. That's perfect. It helps. I use your
Oh,
videos a lot,
great. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
get more videos slowly but surely. I'm building
Yes.
some up in the YouTube category. I have a couple
Mm-hmm.
on there. I'm getting more education out there. I tend to be long-winded and my videos are super long, but I'm trying to do better. But
I like the ones in the morning because when I'm going to work, I see you guys, working out, walking and talking, and
yeah.
that's the best thing,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And I liked walking in the morning is nice, but it's hard to do that with the fasting variation because that means skipping
Yes.
dinner then.
Yes.
So I got to get that
It
walking
is.
in. Technically, I should be doing my walking during my eating period to make it easier to still stick with my fast. So to do that, I don't know, I might get the kids in the walking regimen with me when they're home from school. Otherwise, they're running around the house and it gets wild.
Yeah. It just
It's wild.
it gets wild, but everything's good,
Mhm.
like I said, it's over 100 pounds. It's great. I feel great. My nieces, they love me a lot because it's not 100 pounds on them, But
Yeah,
every time, the only thing is I eat too. It's a lot of beans. Just beans. Some everything green. Anything you see green, I just eat it. And I'm doing double
protein.
double too. I'm looking at that.
Okay. Yeah.
Everything. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to talk to you on the phone here too. So I'll get you some
yes,
more ideas if you want some more ideas. And if you need some help talking to women,
yes. Yeah.
yep. And
I always send your videos to them.
yep. And I'm gonna do another Zoom coming up that literally just talks about menopause. Like
Perfect.
just menopause, just dives a little deep into what exactly I mean by what fruits, what vegetables, which ones are best for building hormones, how to time things out, how to what's too much, what's not enough, and how to figure out where you're at and how you're feeling. So
Yeah,
might
that's
not be
great.
exciting for you and Marcus, but the ladies will
Mm,
appreciate it.
yeah,
Right.
Oh, I have to.
that's true, Marcus. We
I
have to.
have to come on here. Sorry, I have to come on here and listen because I tell you what, I wish I could just sign up men, right? Not, don't get me wrong, because it's easier, right? But man,
It's
if you look at
easier.
my, I have
Yep.
so many women that is saying, I mean, I want to be able to like answer some of their questions, so I think I understand what's going on, and then you know, kind of teach them from there. But I learned too, because in my life anyway, my wife, my 2 daughters, all women. So, you know, I got to learn.
Yep. And how's that coaching the family? How's that going?
It's going good. It's
Good.
going good. You know, they listen to me. Amber's still doing great. My daughter started using the products and then she stopped. She's still young, so she's still
Yeah.
going, doing this and doing that. But she goes to the gym she gets out of work at 7. She goes to the gym for like an hour and a half.
Good for her.
So
That's
she's
my goal, is to increase that gym, to get in some more exercise. So that's my goal. You know, I've leaned out enough, but now I need to, you know, put on a little bit of muscle mass. So
yeah. So it's good. It's good. Everything's going good. I always love coming on here and learning, and I always send you Zooms to the ladies in my to my thing so they can come and listen and learn. And if not, I'll send in the recordings.
Yep. And this one's all recorded. So I will get that out to everybody. Anybody who wants it, just reach out to me, reach out to Marcus. We'll make sure that you get the recording. And so Sharon, I'm glad you're walking when you talk. And then for a Zoom user, you want to do a smoothie with water and protein powder. So the protein powders are great. Whatever protein powder, if you want to do protein powder in your life, just make sure that it's low carb or no carb, because we don't want to be adding a bunch of carbohydrates into the diet. Yes. So yes, you want a copy of it, Sharon? No problem. I'll make sure I get it to you. And Ashley, keeping your spine healthy will also help with your hormones. Of course, the chiropractor's got to put in that spine. Make sure you're watching your spine. Yes, thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that you're on here. Oh, it's always good to have another doctor on the Zoom. Okay, so any questions or anything before we take off? I'll make sure you guys get the recording. And Marcus, we appreciate you coming on here to help all the ladies.
Right? I got to, man. I got to. That's what we're trying. That's what
You
we're trying.
Notice Mike doesn't hop on here. He just gets me on the phone. Every time one of his ladies has an issue, he's like, hold on, here's Jen.
Right. Well, I mean, I'll do the best that I can, that I think, if I can help somebody, right? But that's why I gave that lady your number, right? So, because I mean, I don't think I could. I mean, I probably could help her, but I'd be calling you all the time, Jen. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not fair, you know. So I'm like,
yeah.
And I'll tell them, I mean, if I can't help somebody, I'm like, you know what? I'm not. I had to say this a lot. I'm not a doctor. I know how the products work. I know how to take them. I know what you're supposed to do. I can put a plan in front of you. But I can't tell you all about these other, like, it's crazy how people think they were doctors sometimes. I mean, like, I'm a truck driver.
Yeah.
You know?
You could just say from your personal experience and the people around you, like what works, what doesn't, and give your advice there. But yeah.
It's wild. But yeah, that's why I come on here and learn as much as I can. And that's why I listen to other people on TikTok still. I mean, you never know what you might learn.
Yep. And I always dive deep into the science and try to figure out what they're saying and what's behind it. So if I can't find the science behind it, it's not something I ever repeat. I'm super anal about what I look up and what I can figure out, and making sure everything's backed by science. So just always back it up. Back it up.
Yeah, that's why you always have your slides. You're ready to go, man. You'd be.
I love slides. I get excited about making the slideshows. It's really quite sad. It just.
You'd be stressed out if you wouldn't have the slides. You'd be stressed out, and you'd be like, "Ah, man, why didn't I do them damn slides?"
Oh yeah, I know. I'd be like, "Oh, I forgot about this. I forgot about that." Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, you're amazing, and we thank you for everything.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, everybody who came on here today. And like I said, Sharon, I'll make sure that you get the recording. Anyone else who wants it, just reach out. I'll get it to you. Stephen, I'll get it to you as well. No problem, guys. And I can post it in the Facebook group so that people can get after it and watch it. And so you have that recording there that you can always access. Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll do our next Zoom. We'll go back to Sundays, and I'll have the next Zoom next Sunday. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.